Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Ryuutama.
Hey,
I am joined, as always, by my dear friends Hillary, Andrew, and a picture of Dave. Hi,
Uh,
Dave. Dave is here.
I am. Yeah,
I
yeah.
much prefer a picture of Dave to the real thing.
Me
Well,
too.
to
I
be
bet
fair,
Dave's eating the most delicious snack of all of us.
I can confirm that both Hillary and Andrew exist in real life. But Dave, you are a voice and an image to me, so maybe you're an AI. Who knows?
I finally did the thing. I got rid of it.
Yeah.
I was bored of being constrained by this gross, sweaty meat sack thing. It's getting hot here, so I just got rid of it. Don't need it anymore.
Congratulations.
I mean, we only really knew you as a picture, anyways. This is a series of pictures, so
True.
So you might need to change your Twitter handle, I guess.
Yeah.
Dave the
I mean-
formerly human.
it was always pretty suspect. Let's be real.
It was a trick anyway.
All the
Yeah.
humans I know going around talking about how human they are, of course, but
It's a prerequisite for being human. You have to tell everyone how human you are basically all the time.
So what's that subreddit for it? There is something. and I
There's a
feel-
subreddit for people who need to convince each other that they're human.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
during Mage, Andrew and I were talking about what Kaguya's theme song would be, and I know Andrew had a different theme song, but I was like, "What about Not Human at All" by Sleep Party People? I just felt like that was really on point.
what's that Daft Punk song about whether or not they're humans? Human after all, maybe that's the one. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of Daft Punk songs about not being human.
But the Sleep Party People one, everyone's wearing those really creepy rabbit masks and stuff.
That is
Come on.
true.
You gotta love that. I mean, you don't have to. You can be creeped out.
You have that choice. Maybe it's not a choice at all. Well, Andrew, Hillary, and a picture of Dave. Today we are going to continue our exciting journey through the world of Ryuutama. But before we do, I want to talk about there's a bit in the rule book where I thought this was interesting enough to warrant like stopping and talking about it for a second. So I was looking at the Ryujin level up rules. So these are the level up rules for my little dragon character that's following you around and so far hasn't used any of their powers, but will. And in the leveling up Ryujin section, it says additional abilities at each level as per the chart below. And the chart says session count, 1 session, level 2, new ability. So I was like, okay, cool. We played a session. I get a new ability for my Ryujin. But then I was looking for the character rules because I was like, oh, I thought the characters leveled up on a per journey basis. And that's when I found the thing about a level or a session being a journey. And it made me wonder if the intent of the designers here or translators is that a single journey is meant to be completed in 1 session, or the terms are just interchangeable. Because it specifically says at the end of a session, which is to say a journey. So I wasn't sure about that, and I couldn't find anywhere else in the book that like clarified
I
that.
mean, given the pace that we've advanced at, like we have almost completed the first, like if we just make every leg of the trip a journey, then we've almost completed one in 1 session.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm wondering if, from a GM perspective, if I should have just made the journey shorter because the intent is to do 1 journey per session, or if sessions are meant to be longer. It's interesting because, again, like while we're going through the game, I think that there's this sort of shared, this sort of like shared idea of what a session is. Hillary, you just finished playing Sagas of the Icelanders, and in that game, Gregor specifically calls out that a session is just an amount of arbitrary time.
Oh yeah, it's even very specifically like you can play 2 sessions in 1 day or evening or afternoon. If you get to a certain point and you're like, that feels like the end of the session, cool. Everyone get up and like take a drink of water and get a snack and then start your next session.
Yeah, yeah.
It
it's
isn't like
interesting, right?
it isn't like, well, we're going to play for 4 hours, so a session has to be 4 hours long. But it also actually it makes me wonder for this one if the idea is kind of like, yeah, get together and play until you finish this journey.
Right. So there's all
Maybe
these
that will take you 3 hours. Maybe it'll take you 6. I don't know. Have fun.
yeah, there's all these different conventions around like what an amount of time that is meant to be played is. I think it's fascinating. So yeah, I think like I think we'll. What do you think? Do you want to treat each session as a session and just arbitrarily decide the journey is the, or do we want to like treat each journey as the unit and then do experience stuff at the end of the journey?
Personally, I feel like we should have an arbitrary journey complete point based on how we're proceeding now.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the map, right, and the way that the scenario is created, I'll flip us over to the map. If you look at the
I mean,
map,
I feel
this,
like a journey complete point wouldn't be arbitrary. It would be like we get there.
yeah, getting there is the
Well,
journey, the end of
yeah.
the journey. Yeah, which I think it's.
Sorry, Karen.
I was just gonna say I think it's interesting because it's arbitrary only in the sense that the GM decides it when they make the scenario, right?
We almost got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time we were like, if we had had full days of travel every time, for example.
Well, I don't know. Let's do a little finishing up of the journey, and then we'll see how long that takes us.
I mean, my preference is that we do wrap up stuff at the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Because I think we don't really have as much flexibility in terms of our session times.
Well, and I think if we look
In terms
at
of our, like, chunks of time that we are playing for. So
Yeah.
I would be like, cool, we paused mid-session and then finish the journey, which was the end of the session. And do
Definitely.
those moves then, because it sounds more like the moves are designed to be, and that thematically it makes more sense. to,
yeah,
like,
because there is
change
some
and grow at
stuff.
the end of a journey.
Yeah, there's some stuff in the fiction of the game about the Ryujin taking the journal of the journey to the great seasonal dragons or whatever, and nourishing them with the story, and so some of that is like is baked into the.
Yeah, I had an interesting chat with Halflink, who's in chat now, actually, about like how long the distance should be between each town, like based on the amount that you can kind of carry and the fact that you have to allocate a spot for rations for each day you expect to go, and that it might actually say explicitly somewhere that the journeys are supposed to be a little bit shorter so you can finish them within one session.
Yeah.
No, I've not read the entire thing. I've only done the character stuff.
It's interesting because it makes me wonder about the intention of like how difficult it is. Like it seems very easy to find food and water, and the actual journeying part seems like if you're doing 2 to 3 days, your sessions are much shorter. Like we could do 2 journeys if they were like 2 or 3 day journeys. We could do 2 journeys in one sitting of the game, which I don't know. Maybe that's the intent. But interesting the way that as you play different games, the things that you assume about how long a role-playing game is meant to go or how long certain things are meant to take changes, right? You're muted, Tilly. Thanks. you knew you were. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I remember about this. I feel like another part of it also is that, like, based on like the expectations of how far apart cities are or how far apart villages are makes a difference. Like 3 of us live in Canada where everything is really far apart. We're like,
Right.
I don't know, how could it possibly take you less than 6 days to like get to a different place? Whereas like other places, people are like, you walked for 6 days. Why didn't you stop in one of the many villages you went through?
Yeah, it's true.
You know, because of where we live, things are realistically like quite far apart.
Yeah, if I said to you like I'm gonna go for a walk to Calgary,
we would be like, okay, like what kind of
We're never
food
gonna
do
see
you
you
have
again.
going with you? You're gonna die.
yeah,
Yeah. Whereas I feel like, you know, Japan is a smaller country, and so
it is
also
definitely
makes-
that.
More
well, like,
densely populated.
yeah, and so it makes me think like, well, what's the expectation? Like, if you walked for 6 days, how many towns would you go through, kind of thing, or villages or whatever. So I feel like that kind of makes. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's just a thought about how that kind of the cultural differences and the different cultural assumptions between like how far away places are from each other make a difference. So I'm gonna eat a steamed bun.
Well, I think too we bring with us a lot of expectation about role-playing games too, and we play D&D and we watch Lord of the Rings and we expect grand sweeping journeys between things, rather than, like you said, like it might only take 2 days to go from one town to the other. So I guess with all that kind of in mind, the lesson here for me is to plan my scenarios a little differently, and to create maybe more condensed scenarios rather than like longer journeys.
It'll make Dave feel more at home.
Yeah, exactly. If you walked for 6 days here, you'd like get to the other end of the country.
Exactly. Dave lives on a small island.
Yes.
There have been people living on that small island for a really long time. They all live very close together because it's an island.
Right. Well, the comparison here is like, you know, we have the Tokaido Highway in Japan and the sort of tales of wandering from village to village, and then, you know, like Dave, your people have the Canterbury Tales, which is like they get a lot of shit done in that book or poem or whatever. And yeah, it's interesting because of the ideas of how we engage culturally with travel. Go figure. Games are based at least somewhat inherently in the cultures they're made in. Cool. Okay. Well, so let's finish this journey. I know we're gonna go a little shorter. We're doing a 3-part episode today. We're gonna go a little shorter than usual, so that should give us lots of time to finish this journey. I know that you have maybe 2 days ahead of you, right? And then we'll see.
I have a question.
Yes, Andrew.
When do I make my journal?
Well, I guess that is a good question, isn't it? I think if we're gonna limit things to, let's use the journey as a bounding box for all of that kind of stuff.
So I'll recap the whole journey.
Recap the whole journey. This is Tut's tale. This first journey. Cool. So keep making your notes, and we'll get you to tell us what happened at the beginning of the next journey.
Well, the good news is these are all being recorded, and that I can just watch them later.
Totally, and just recharacterize them. Yeah. Dave, I saw you just made a good point in chat. Would you like to express that point live? Because I think it's good. It's a good one.
I was gonna be like, how the fuck did you see Dave do anything?
So Dave, you just made a very smart analogy between this game and another Japanese game. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like Final Fantasy X. That's a whole story of journey, and I think there are a lot of similarities in the way that it's handled, at least like thematically, between this and the way that specific things are mechanized in this game. I mean, in Final Fantasy X, you don't keep track of rations, but it's all about going from one place to the other, and like the way that people interact with each other on the days, and you know,
Yeah.
quite cool. And that's all done walking, which seems a little bit odd, I guess, maybe culturally for people who live in larger countries. It never struck me, but since we're thinking about it, that's why it reminded me. Like, to walk across the entirety of Spira, like, they use vehicles once or twice.
Yeah. There's a little bit of shoe puff in there, but mostly it's the feet.
You want to ride the shoe off?
I love those weird things.
Who even knows?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Travel as a theme in
Man,
games.
the people in your tiny island countries.
Yeah.
Right now.
In
on
chat,
Steam-
everyone's like, yeah, you know, all coast to coast, and England is, 190 miles. Or, yeah. East to West is 75. I'm like, I'm dating someone who lives 50 miles from me, and they're like local.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So Andrew,
like
Andrew and Hillary and I are just
Not
gonna
long
take.
distance relationship I'm in.
We're just gonna take a walk to Toronto. It'll be fine. See y'all in a
God,
couple of years.
We're all gonna die. Anyways, let's have our cute journey.
Yes, let's have a much cuter, less Canadian journey. So we left off in the grasslands, about a day's travel away from the ferry, where you paid in both gold and makeovers to cross the small river, and and you're continuing on your way to the mining town of Sapton, which is up in the hills. So soon we'll be leaving the grasslands behind for slightly more difficult terrain. So as we always do, we'll begin the day with our condition checks. So to set your physical condition for the day, go ahead and roll your strength plus spirit. Yeah,
I
we
don't know
will
what
see.
condition your condition is in.
We will see what condition your condition is in. All right.
It's good.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, Dave and Hillary, you're both 8, which is an okay condition to be in.
Yep.
And then Tut, you begin the day in fine shape. You have 10 or better. So why don't you tell us, Tut? It's the day's weather is going to be like moderate rain. It's going to rain today. You're out in the grasslands, and you awaken to, I don't know, maybe like the beginning of the rain. Like the sky is cloudy and gray, and there's like dew on the
You just hear the
long.
first like drop hitting, I don't know, like that straw hat or something. So it's just like pip.
Yeah. The episode after the like, the nice credits roll and we have the like the walking montage and stuff. Yeah, we fade up from black to like probably the sound of rain first, and we see Tut wake
Yeah,
up.
and then that like Tut opens their eyes because it like hits their hat, which was over their head. And like Partridge like shifts around because Tut was like sleeping against Partridge and was all like leaned forward. Like the rain, because of Tut's like connection with spring, right? And their like spring magic, they just like feel very alive when it's raining, and so they just like take a deep breath and like shake off the morning and like find a somewhat damp cigarette. They just like feel very alive when it's raining, and so they just like take a deep breath and like shake off the morning and like find a somewhat damp cigarette and light it like and start cooking breakfast before everyone else wakes up.
Nice. And so how does I was thinking about this before, because like rolled tobacco is like a fairly modern thing. Do you have like a little anachronistic like Zippo lighter that you use, or because like how would you light a cigarette with like flint? Like you'd have to light something else on fire and then light it, and like it'd be a whole thing.
I think we're sophisticated enough that I could have matches.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's probably
So
true.
yeah, it's all just like matches.
Cool. Okay, yeah, so you fish out your matches.
And maybe instead of rolling papers, it's like little tiny leaves. Like these little leaves.
Yeah. Totally.
But they're like a particular leaf that has like volatile like sap or whatever in it, so it actually like burns as if it's dry.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Yeah. Little like rolled up like orange leaves. I like it. Cool. Okay. So despite the rain, or perhaps because of it, you wake up in fine spirits. What's their stat that you're gonna boost for today?
I'm bumping strength up.
Yeah. All right. Feeling
And
strong.
I'm pulling that cart.
Excellent. Okay, well, so that's actually a really good place for the turning point of the day. It happens early today. It happens before you even set out. I think you go over to the cart, and you find that what was a patch job, you fixed it up when you first found it, has kind of run its course. The axle of the wagon has a crack that maybe you didn't notice before, and it's now sort of splintered and buckled in the middle. So instead of the wheels sitting, parallel to each other, they're kind of like buckled in on a funny angle, and the cart will not budge in its current condition. Yeah, it is busted.
Yeah, so I go over and what's Dave's character's name again?
Yuki.
Right, Yuki. Yeah, I go over and like nudge Yuki and try to wake her up. Be like, hey, wake up.
Yes. What's up? What's happening?
Cart broke again.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to spend the time fixing it? I mean, we're pretty close to the town now, and I don't know, how much have we got on there at the moment?
That's a good question. Let's take a look. It's currently carrying meat, right?
Meat.
It's a meat cart. Yeah, there it is, meat.
It's like mostly empty.
Yeah, it's carrying three cubes of meat. And are you still carrying the dried stuff in your bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, do we even need anyone to pull the cart today?
Well, yeah, so
finish
Tet will
up.
chime in with just, look, if the card's broken, it's gonna make it a lot harder for me to sell it when we get to town.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Sure.
It just needs to look like it works great for another like day, and then we're good.
I'm not sure that I'm happy with selling it. If it doesn't work, we'd have to tell people it didn't work.
Look, selling it is my job. You just worry about making it work.
Okay, fine. I'll take the time to do that today. If you like.
And then is Michiko like still asleep?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna use my springy magic.
Ooh, spring magic. What are you
I'm
gonna
just
do?
gonna cast Wake Up and Stand Up.
Nice.
So anyone sleeping in the area immediately awakens and stands up.
Excellent. Okay, make your magic check.
Right, here we go. Magic. I do it.
Ooh, all right. Okay, so what does that look like when you cast that spell?
I think I'm just like I'm getting kind of anxious because like this card is broken and I feel like Yuki is probably gonna start giving me guff about how I want to sell it even though it's broken. And so I just like stamp my foot. And even though I don't like stamp it very hard, all of the like trees and stuff nearby, any like water that's stuck on the leaves all just like falls off simultaneously as if the ground had shook.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just this like loud splash, and
And I get like,
it was just like awake and up immediately without knowing why.
Cool.
yeah.
Okay, so
That's confusing.
Michiko, yeah, what do? You're suddenly like awake and standing up.
Yeah. I think I'm like suddenly there, and I'm like,
Oh, good, you're awake.
and
You
I
know
like,
how to fix the
I, like,
card.
pull out my knife, and I'm like,
You don't need that. That's not going to help the cart.
what's going on? I'll get him.
It's,
Where are they?
it's daytime. It's just time to wake up.
Okay. That seems suspicious.
I immediately regret my decision to wake Michiko up.
Would
What?
one of you mind helping me out with this? The axle's broken, Michiko.
Oh. Yeah, sure. I know a song about that.
Okay, so you'll need to find some wood to carve into a new temporary axle. This one is broken and can't be repaired.
Luckily,
So
we're in the grasslands.
there's some trees, but it's gonna take some time. If you stop and dedicate basically like the rest of your travel time today to like finding material and fixing the cart, that's something that you can do. It just means that it'll be a sacrifice of one day, and you'll have to work in the rain.
I totally want to do it.
I mean,
Okay.
you have a massive axe, don't you, for tree
Yeah.
cutting?
I'm gonna go chop down a tree.
Okay, so someone will go and find materials, and then someone's will fix the cart. Is that the plan?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So whoever is doing the scavenging, I guess this is the thing: is one person can scavenge and one person can fix, and one person can help one of those two roles.
How does my grassland song help?
Well, if
And
you'd
who?
like to sing the grassland song, it gives both people, gives everybody else who makes a roll, their next roll gets a +1.
Yes.
I believe that's how it works. Let me see.
So
I was
Hillary
like,
can help both
I
of
have
us.
a
Can get 7 or better. You take 1 HP damage when you use it, and then you make the roll. And then if you succeed, it gives a +1 bonus to the next roll of all party members. Or if you crit, it's a +3 bonus. But if you fumble, anyone with a condition 6 or less becomes muddled by your song. But nobody has a.
Nobody has a condition 6 or less. We're almost gonna leave the grasslands when I think. So
Yeah. Now is as good a time as
Great.
any.
I sing my song 6 or less. We're almost gonna leave the grasslands when I think. So
Yeah. Now is as good a time as
Great.
any.
I sing my song.
Okay, what kind of what is it? What kind of song is the
Oh,
grass
I
song?
forgot to.
Oh yeah, it was like a whispery.
It's on my song, and I was going to write more information about it, but I didn't.
That's okay.
But don't
Well,
worry,
we know it involves
I'm
a
writing it in my
tambourine.
really cute, handcrafted with love flip book journal. And this section has little grasses at the bottom.
Perfect. Okay, so go ahead and make your roll. Let's see how much the other characters are
And it's just my music
reinvigorated
roll, right?
by. What's that?
Just my music roll. That's plus
Yes,
spirit.
that's right.
And no modifiers.
Correct. Nice. Okay, good.
What a great song!
So we get
That's
a little
not a crit though, because I have to get 2 6s.
2
right?
6s, yeah. Yeah, so both Yuki and Tut are inspired by the sound of your grassland song, which carries out across the plains to both of them wherever they are.
Yeah, this one doesn't have any words, I think. If I remember correctly, it's just like the sound of like rustling through the grass and stuff.
Yeah, we said there was some whistling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of whistling in this song. I whistle the melody.
Is part of the song? Do you take one of a piece of grass and like do that thing where you blow into it like a kazoo?
I tried to do that. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how to whistle through a piece of grass. So there's a lot of like.
It was like, oh, Michiko must be allergic to something.
Like, this is gonna be such a great highlight in the refrain.
Man, a spring song in the grasslands. I know Andrew feels me on this. Would definitely involve some like blowing of the nose and rubbing of the eyes.
Yeah.
Springtime
Yeah,
allergy song.
Yeah.
Singing about pollen floating in the air. I'm getting itchy just thinking about it. Okay, so
I saw Andrew Brintham blink their eyes.
Tut, do you want to make your scavenging roll? I think let's see if there are any already appropriate macros built into the sheet here.
Hard exercise. Search for food.
Yeah. Search for food, I think, is about the closest.
Hint? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I get a +1 modifier.
You do indeed.
I critically succeed.
All right. Yeah, you sure do. Excellent. Okay, so you go on your search for materials and
Find an axle tree.
yeah, totally. You find you find an axle tree.
Who would have expected an axle tree growing right here in the grasslands? It's already perfectly shaped into an axle. All you have to do is cut it down.
I think what you probably find is a stand of bamboo, right? Which is essentially axle shaped already.
And grass.
Yeah. So you find some bamboo in the grasslands and chop down some stout looking bamboo and bring it back to the cart.
Do I find gold inside any of the bamboo shoots that I chopped down? Is there a magical tiny Buddhist baby?
No.
Damn, maybe next time.
Next time, yeah. So you bring those back, and maybe we get a little scene of all of you sitting around, because that takes sort of the early part of the day, sitting around the camp in the rain, under some kind of like shelter, like eating some lunch.
Yeah, I like bring back extra bamboo so that we can make a little like tent pole thing with it or whatever. I don't know. I just like gather a bunch.
Yeah. Little
These big,
bamboo
like,
and cloth
flopsy
pavilion.
Bamboo things that I'm carrying. It's like,
Yeah, I like it. Cool. Okay. And then in the second part of the day, in the afternoon, again out in the rain, Yuki, you're gonna try to fix the cart.
Yeah, I can't remember if we decided on delicate work or hard exercise.
I think hard exercise for this repair.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and it involves
Exactly
like
the same.
lifting the cart and
Does the critical success mean that the bamboo is going to make my repairs easier?
It won't, but I will give Tut. Let's say if you want to, you can bring 3 weight of like fine bamboo back to Sapton with you.
hell yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to concentrate.
Okay.
Let's give this a shot. Yeah,
There
totally.
you go. Perfect. Okay. So the rest of the day, you finish fixing. We see you taking. Actually, you describe it. What does it look like as you repair the cart?
Hmm. Hum, hum, hum. I think.
So why would I stop singing?
Yeah, why would you do that?
That's bizarre to me. I wouldn't, is the answer.
Okay, yeah, and I've got the bamboo shoot that I've planned to use like balanced up on something, and I'm chopping at one end, and Bobby Corwin is sat on the other as like a counterbalance, so it doesn't like I've got the bamboo shoot that I've planned to use like balanced up on something, and I'm chopping at one end, and Bobby Corwin is sat on the other as like a counterbalance, so it doesn't.
Okay, Bobby Corwin.
We cut it into shape, and yeah, we slide back into place. I think. Gosh, what was the gecko yak called again? It's got a personal name. I don't remember. Andrew, what's your pet called?
Partridge?
Partridge. Yeah, I need Partridge to
It's like the family.
lift up the cart, the bottom of it, so we can put the axle in underneath. But then we all work together, all the animals and me.
Excellent. Good. Okay, so you get the cart all fixed up, and ready to go.
You're right.
There's Bobby Corwin for you. There you go. Okay.
I drew a bamboo.
Right for him. Oh, he's so cute.
So yeah, cool. So at the end of the day, as you're ready to set up camp, your wagon it looks a little like patchy because the wood that makes up the wagon is different from the axle, and the bamboo's like a little bendy in the middle under the weight, but it'll hold. It should hold you to Sapton at least, and yeah, and you go from there.
We also have some replacement pieces just in case.
Mm-hmm. No, you got some
Those
extra
bamboos
extra
up in
bamboo.
the cart.
Yeah,
Yo, I'm gonna sell this bamboo for so much money.
yeah.
Obviously, but in case it breaks, which it
Right. So
1 million gil.
we don't need to make travel checks today, I guess, since we
Yeah,
didn't.
that's
do
right.
any travel?
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just camping here again.
Yeah, so you just
Throwing
make
us
another
fire.
camp, and as usual, the camp roll is one traveler makes the check and one person can support, and the difficulty for today, because it's still raining, is 7.
We're okay for food, aren't we? I don't need to hunt yet.
Yeah, we're still good on food.
Eat that last bit of meat that was in the cart. Are we
Yeah.
supposed to? Is the current weather rain or hard rain?
Just rain.
And we're supposed to apply weather bonuses and penalties?
No, that's only for traveling.
Okay. I'm making camp, probably.
Probably, yeah.
And do I still have a +2 on that? I don't know why I had a +2. I had a +1 because I'm great.
Yeah,
that
you
was
get
a spell.
+1 for being a minstrel. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Tot
then
was
what-
casting a spell, wasn't he?
That was for direction check.
Yeah, direction check is that one.
Oh, I think it's because you have been helping me.
Okay, I can help you do
So
this.
I think that's where I've been getting my second plus from.
Okay.
There we go. I'll give you some help again.
Okay. So how
Right.
do you help? What is today's setting up the camp? Because you have some extra stuff. Right? Like you have like a little like Tut brought back the little tent poles, and so the camp today is maybe a little bit more like not just sleeping bags in the tent, but like this little setup. So what does it look like for setting up today's camp? Do you use the same space as before? How does it look? Tell us about the camp.
Maybe we need to like shore it up because the rain is persisting and like things are getting muddy or whatever. So we have to like set up tarps or like
Yeah.
move the tent to a less muddy area or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So because you can move the cart now, so maybe you move the cart to somewhere that isn't quite like such it hasn't been like camped in already and kind of like tamped down. Okay. Let's see how the camp check result is. Do you wanna roll, Hillary?
Yeah, sure. If there's anything important that happened in the last like 2 minutes, I didn't know about it because everything froze for me.
It's
So
okay. You have a +1 from Yuki's help.
great. Can we go back to the map?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I cleared out all of our rations. And everything's
Cool.
up to date.
Perfect.
I just have a flame to draw, so
Okay.
camp check.
Nice. No problem. The camp goes
Why
off.
is mine a +3?
Did
I'm
you
not sure.
concentrate?
You've got
No.
one for yourself.
I have it only written as special modifiers 2, but it did a +3. So I wonder if it's now automatically adding my minstrel thing.
Maybe.
Anyways, I do a good job at camp.
You sure do. Good work. Yeah, because 13 and 12 are the same result. So yeah, you set up camp, and everybody, including Partridge and Bobby Corwin, all gather together under the tarp that you set up with these bamboo poles, and everyone gets some sleep. So the next day you wake up, and the rain has been joined by a deep fog. So when you wake up in the morning, there is a blanket of gray fog kind of covering the area around the hills, because you're kind of down at the bottom of this sort of hilly area that's coming up, and so
A deep fog, you said?
it's fog.
I feel bad.
Oh, Michiko.
Take my fumble point.
Yeah, everyone take a fumble point, and then we'll see what happens if you fumble your condition check.
Oh, my condition is not very good
Ooh,
either.
Bad conditions. It's a bad time.
Bad luck to camp twice in the same place.
Evidently. All right. So bad luck this morning. I think that when we fade in on this morning before we see condition check.
Oh, my condition is not very good
Ooh,
either.
Bad conditions. It's a bad time.
Bad luck to camp twice in the same place.
Evidently. All right. So bad luck this morning. I think that when we fade in on this morning before we see what like bad shape the characters are in, we see sitting on top in the sort of foggy early morning light, sitting on top of the cart is a very sort of put off looking emerald green parrot. It's all like squinched down and puffed up, but it's just like soaked. It's like covered in rainwater. And when you all start to wake up, I think the parrot kind of like startles and like flies off. And then we pan down to all of you waking up in the damp.
Oh, so we don't see it?
No, you don't.
Because I would have seen it once before, wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm.
I have one of its feathers in my hat.
It's true.
I know nothing about this at all.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe it's just like because it's really cold now and like the damp has gotten into my bones and stuff. I'm just like shivering a little bit and trying to pull my wind cloak closer, but it doesn't keep me warm.
Yeah. For condition, yeah. So you get your condition. It's just a number that you'll use for the rest of the day for other things.
When I moved my condition down to 2, the box around condition turned red.
So let's see. Condition check. I just want to make sure there's no special rule for... here we go. When a character's condition is a 2, the character is feeling run down and out of sorts. You have to choose one of the following status effects. Injury 4, Poison 4, Exhaustion 4, or Muddled 4. Now, those are reducing your dex, your strength, your spirit, or your int by 1 die size.
Yeah.
Until your condition improves.
Let me... Come on, little thing. Let's see. Oh, that would be the worst choice, but I kind of want to make it. I was like, yeah, maybe it's just this fog is really disorienting and I'm muddled, and that's going to really mess us up on this direction check, though. Since
I mean, whatever
It's
makes
fine.
the most sense. Like
I feel like
injury and poison don't make a ton of sense unless you got
injury and
food
poison don't make
poisoning.
any sense except if I'm like allergic to fog.
You got food poisoning, or like something fell on you in the middle of the
Yeah.
night, or you woke up with the flu. Like poison just means you're
Yeah, it was.
sick, basically.
Yeah, I think the injury, I don't know, it could have been like, yeah, those bamboo posts that we set up for camp, just kind of they fell on me in the night.
Or like they had like some kind of like biting beetle living in them that crawled out in the middle of the night
Mhm.
and just like chewed on you in your sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
burn.
put the bamboo in the cart.
You have to burn everything now.
The whole thing's infected.
We have to burn the whole grassland.
Great. Just gonna raise it. I
So
mean, a grass fire is a real thing. I'm just thinking, yeah, strength messes up the travel check, but doesn't mess up everything else. I kind of
I mean,
I feel like
exhaustion would make sense too if you're like,
exhaustion makes sense too. I just feel like muddled makes the most sense, but it's really gonna ruin us this day.
it's only
if you're like,
Exhaustion makes sense too. I just feel like muddled makes the most sense, but it's really gonna ruin us this day.
it's only a one die type. You could still do. The funny thing is, it's at lower die types you have less likely to succeed, but you have a like if you have a D4, you have a 1 in 4 chance of it being a crit on that die.
Yeah.
So your crit chances go up. It just becomes less likely that you'll succeed unless you crit.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I'm just going with it. I'm muddled.
Okay, so what does that look
Yeah.
like when Michiko
So
wakes
I'm
up?
muddled 4 then?
Yes, muddled 4.
Ooh, when you put it to muddled 4, that box also goes from green to red.
Excellent.
Whoever did that color change thing on the sheet.
Kudos.
Yeah. I wish there was an easier way to tell what it was adding as my bonuses, but yeah, so I think I wake up and I'm like completely disoriented
Mm-hmm.
and like I think that I don't know, I think I like sleepwalked a little bit in the night or something. I think I either like sleep like just a rock or I like
So do
I
we?
had a bad sleep and I did a bit of sleepwalking.
So do we? Do
And I
we
wake
find
up and
you?
I'm somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we pan down to see like all the bed rolls and everybody kind of grumbling and waking up, and
Yeah.
you're not there.
Yeah, and I mean, I probably like, I'm not very far away. I'm on like the other side of the cart or something, and I'm like, where
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah, and you're just like soaked to the bone.
I'm soaked. I'm cold. I'm lost.
You woke up on the wrong side of the cart.
Yeah, I did wake up on the wrong side of the cart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are
So I
you
think
are
I think that's what happens, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just like really disoriented by the fog and everything.
okay. Excellent. All right. So you are muddled, and Tut, you also have a quite a low condition.
yeah, my condition's 6.
Yeah. What does that look like? Why are you not feeling as good today as you did yesterday?
Oh, because the fog is just like creeping in to my clothes, and like I'm just like damp all the way through.
So maybe we see you trying to like replicate yesterday's success, but you can't like get your cigarette lit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like just nothing works anymore.
yeah, cool. Okay, excellent. All right. So let's get y'all started for the day. Let's see how today's journey will go. So I need you to make your I have another thing to introduce today, but it won't happen yet. It'll happen after you set out. So let's
I'm
get your
trying some fog banks.
okay.
Okay, I did it.
Is there any opportunity, since I'm feeling okay and I know that Michiko isn't, to like look for some healing herbs or something to stop her being muddled? that something?
That is something you can do.
Because I'm
Definitely.
pretty good at finding stuff. That's my jam.
Is that going to use up our travel time though?
It will. Yeah, it'll slow down. You can instead of traveling, you can spend the day.
I don't want to
looking-
do that.
Yeah. So okay, well
We've
let's.
already been here for 2 days, for like a day.
Yeah, it's true. You could just stay in the foggy grasslands forever, hoping the
No,
weather
I
will
don't
break.
want
But yeah. Okay, so I mean, is that a conversation that you have? Like, Yuki, do you suggest, like, I could go look for some herbs, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll totally
I'm too
suggest.
grumpy. I refuse.
Okay, well,
Like, no, we have to head off now. We probably got farther away in the night.
that's not. Okay, I mean,
I'm really sure that's how it works. It does, and I totally know what I'm doing.
I mean,
But
do you want me to make the travel check today? I mean, I can
no,
just take the map. You can still draw it.
no,
All right. Okay.
I don't think you're allowed to actually. But maybe you are. Maybe you can hand off duties.
No, not within a journey. You can
Yeah, so no, you
offer,
can't do
but the roll will be made by the same person.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Michiko just like being like, "All right, let's go," and then just starts walking like back the way we came down the road.
Yeah. All my cute little dots are like weird little lines now. Why did you do that map?
You can change your brush size. That might be it.
No, it's all the ones I did last time.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Adam was messing with it. I saw him do it. He was moving it all over the place. That's probably what it was.
Sure, blame me.
I mean, I do, but
Okay. Well, let's make some checks. Let's make a travel check. Let's see how far you get today.
it's gonna go great.
Cast the direction spell.
So the travel check is how much trouble you have on the path, and then
Travel check is,
direction
like, how
direction check
travel
is
goes. Do
yeah.
you get a blister?
yeah. Let's see how today's travel goes. So everybody make a strength and dex roll, and make sure that if you have anything that affects you for rain or fog, that you're making sure that's accounted for, and then yeah, and away you go.
Cold is separate, isn't it?
Cold is separate, yeah.
I think that it is adding my
Your one for minstrel.
my minster one now, so I'm going to
reduce
it down.
Yeah, because Michiko, this roll you should just have the +1 for minstrel, unless you have sync gear. Right, because you're on the road. Yeah, so you'll have a +2.
So I have +2.
I'm fine.
Good. All right.
So it's still 8 for me.
Yep. The difficulty is 8 because it's grasslands, rain, and fog.
I got a 5.
Okay. All right. Not feeling so good today, Tut. that old Andrew Luck really paying off. So
Do you get a Charlie horse?
yeah. So what's the bad thing that happens, Tut? What trouble do you run into? You have your hit points.
Yeah. I think I'm moving this cart along, and like at one point I like lose everyone in the fog.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of like lagging behind a little bit, and we're like going up a hill, and I'm like trying to haul this thing up the hill, and the road has gotten like slippery in the rain or whatever, or muddy, and I just like lose my footing and just fall like face first into the hillside, and the car like rolls back down the hill a little ways. And it's just I had to like spend all this extra time picking that stuff up, and like no one waits for me, and I have to try to catch up, and it's just it's a whole debacle.
So oh god, you'd end up in that awful position where you're like damp and like kind of cold but also sweaty underneath all of your damp clothes. Ugh.
Yeah.
The worst.
And I'm covered in mud.
Awesome. Well, then the next part will be extra fun for you. Okay, so you half your hit points, and so what'll happen now is we get to the turning point. So before we figure out how far you've traveled, we'll figure that out after this. There's a point where you're all out in the fog. You're on the road. The road is getting kind of you're at the point between transitioning between kind of the grasslands road and the hills, where the road here is actually more stable and made of like sort of stone pieces, but they're all kind of like apart right now. It's so you're kind of having to like drag the wagon through this little rocky area, and I think that you notice, maybe Yuki, you're the one who sees this. You notice some shadows, kind of like moving. At first, you think it might just be like trees or bushes like moving. Then you definitely notice they're kind of like moving towards you in the fog on either side of the path.
Can I attempt to sense like what's going on? like from the way that they're moving and.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, you can make a int plus spirit check to sense nearby living things.
Yeah. Do I want to concentrate on this? I already concentrated on the travel check. How many have I got left today? I have 1, 2, 3. Yes. I don't want to get surprised.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and make your roll. The difficulty. Let's see.
I got
Oh, you
11.
got lots, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah. Okay, great. So yes, you spot them in time to not be ambushed. You can have a moment to like ready everybody before. Let me grab a token here. Before out of the fog emerge a handful of nasty Neko goblins.
No.
Oh,
No.
nasty.
Yeah, they're not cute or cool. So with a charge, a loud battle cry of Nyan, a group of these little, they're like, yeah, exactly, like angry, kind of like stepped on my tail, yowling. These little kind of anthropomorphized little cat goblins come bursting up out of the grass and rush towards you to attack. So we will jump over to the battle map where I have I just grabbed some tokens that I thought might be okay to start for your characters till we have
Cool.
ones.
Nice.
And we'll fight some Neko goblins. But let's take a quick break before we do that because I don't want to get into it and then have to stop. Sound good?
Yeah, okay.
Cool. All right. So when we get back, the screen goes all swirly, and we'll start the battle music and kick in with the Neko goblins when we return. So stick around. More Ryuutama right after this.